My wife wanted me dead for the insurance money. What the actual F? Hey Reddit, so I'm Ethan, 38, and I own a small business. Always been the responsible one, the workhorse. My younger brother, Mark, charisma for days, could charm the pants off anyone, and my parents ate it up. Everything he did was a learning experience. Me, I had to be perfect. Building my business has been brutal, constant pressure. My wife, Cassandra, has been supportive, I guess, or so I thought. It all seemed worth it until I overheard something that changed everything. Should I even be posting this? I don't know what to do. I just closed the biggest deal of my life. This deal, man, it was going to save my company. I was buzzing, couldn't wait to tell Cassandra. Got home early, flowers in hand, ready to celebrate. And then I heard it. Coming from the living room, her voice sharp and excited on the phone. And you know how much that policy is worth, enough for us both to finally be comfortable. My heart stopped. She was talking to her cousin, gossiping, I thought, until I heard the next sentence. Once that accident at the factory happens. Accident? At the factory, my stomach lurched. My factory, my life insurance. The pieces clicked together with sickening clarity. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Nausea rolled over me in waves. She was talking about my death, like it was some inconvenience. A payday. I stood there, frozen, listening to her casually discuss how my death would benefit her. She was laughing, actually laughing, about what she'd do with the money. A new car, a trip to Europe, over my dead body. I couldn't breathe. It felt like the world was tilting. Everything I'd worked for, every sacrifice I'd made for her. And she was just waiting for me to die. I stumbled back, the flowers slipping from my numb fingers, the thud echoing the hollowness in my chest. She'd been so sweet, so supportive these past few months, especially with all the stress at work. It was all a lie, a performance. She was playing me. I wanted to confront her, to scream, to demand answers. But I couldn't. I just left, drove. I didn't know where I was going, just needed to get away from that house, from her. From the chilling realization that the woman I loved, the woman I'd built my life with, wanted me dead. I left a note, just a few words. I know everything. Nothing more, no accusations, no demands, just that. Let her stew, figure it out. I needed time to think, to process, to breathe. She texted, of course, all fake concern. Ethan, where are you? Is everything okay? I'm worried. Worried about losing her payday, more like. I didn't respond. Couldn't. The thought of her voice, dripping with false sweetness, made my skin crawl. 2 days later, I finally went back to the house. I needed clothes, my laptop. Had to keep the business running. She was there, waiting. All tears and trembling lips. Oscar-worthy performance. Ethan, oh my God, where have you been? I've been so worried. I just stared at her. The mask was slipping. A flicker of panic in her eyes. Worried? I asked, my voice flat. Dead. Of course, you just disappeared. You left a note saying you knew everything. What did you mean by that? And then she started with the waterworks. Full-on sobbing, heaving shoulders. The whole 9 yards. I don't understand, Ethan. What's going on? Are you having an affair? Is that it? Is there someone else? Affair? Are you kidding me? This is what she comes up with after I heard her plotting my death. An affair? I repeated, the word tasting like ash in my mouth. Cassandra, I heard you, on the phone, with your cousin, talking about my life insurance, talking about an accident at the factory. The tears stopped, just like that. Her face went white, then a flash of anger. You're twisting things I would never. How dare you accuse me of? Accuse? I laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. I heard you, Cassandra. I heard you planning my death. She tried to backpedal, said I misunderstood, said she was talking about something else. Some hypothetical situation. Bullshit, all of it. Then my mother called. Cassandra had called her, playing the victim. My mother, of course, took her side. Ethan, what have you done to Cassandra? She's distraught. You need to come home and apologize. Apologize? Are you freaking kidding me? Mom, I said, my voice shaking. She was talking about my life insurance, about how much money she'd get if I died in an accident at the factory. Silence. Then my mother's voice, cold and dismissive. Ethan, don't be ridiculous. Cassandra would never. You're just stressed. You're overreacting. You always have. Always have. That's their go-to, isn't it? Dismiss, minimize, gaslight, make me question my own sanity, make me the crazy one. That's when I knew this wasn't normal. This wasn't just a marital spat. This was toxic, my whole family, toxic, and I was drowning in it. I hung up. I needed to get out. Away from them all. I looked at Cassandra, her face a mask of fake concern, and felt nothing, just a vast, empty hollowness where love used to be. We're done, I said, my voice hollow, and I walked out. 3 weeks later, and things have gone from bad to nuclear. I'm starting to think I'm living in some twisted reality TV show. Not only is Cassandra refusing to leave the house, which legally is half mine, but she's brought in reinforcements, her mother, and her cousin, the same cousin I overheard plotting my accident. They're holed up in my house like some deranged sorority, spinning this narrative that I'm the unstable one, that I'm the one tearing the family apart. My phone's blowing up with messages from relatives I haven't spoken to in years. All variations of Cassandra's so upset. You need to fix this. Think of the family. Think of the family. They're trying to gaslight me into thinking I'm crazy after my wife tried to have me killed. This morning, I woke up to find my business's Yelp page flooded with one-star reviews. All fake accounts. All claiming everything from food poisoning, I own a manufacturing plant, not a restaurant, to shoddy workmanship. My reputation, the thing I've poured my life into building, is being systematically dismantled. They're trying to ruin me. I went to the house to grab some more of my stuff. Big mistake. Cassandra's mother, a woman who once pretended to adore me, blocked the doorway, arms crossed, a look of pure venom on her face. "You have no right to be here, Ethan," she hissed. "This is Cassandra's house now." "It's our house," I corrected, trying to keep my voice calm. "And I'm just here to get my things." Cassandra's cousin, the one with the sugary sweet voice that now sends chills down my spine, chimed in from behind her mother. "Oh, poor Ethan, playing the victim. Maybe if you hadn't abandoned your wife, abandoned, I wanted to scream. I wanted to shake them both until their teeth rattled. Abandoned, I repeated, my voice rising. I left because she was plotting my murder. Cassandra's mother scoffed. "Don't be absurd, Ethan. Cassandra would never." "I heard her," I roared, finally losing my cool. "I heard her talking about my life insurance. I heard her planning my death." They just stared at me blank-faced, like I was speaking a foreign language. Then Cassandra's mother, with an air of condescending pity, said, "Ethan, dear, you really need help. You're not well, not well. Are you kidding me? This is insanity." I pushed past them, grabbed my stuff, and left. My hands were shaking, my heart pounding. I can't eat, can't sleep. I feel like I'm losing my mind. But one thing's crystal clear, I'm not backing down. They're trying to destroy me and I'm not going to let them. I'm going to fight back. I have to. This isn't just about money anymore. It's about my life, my sanity. My future. It's about proving to myself and to them that I'm not the weak link they think I am. I'm done being their scapegoat. I'm done being silent. This is war. I knew I needed help. This whole thing with Cassandra, her family, the whispers, the gaslighting, it was eating me alive. I felt like I was going crazy. I reached out to Marcus, an old family friend, a business mentor my dad had sworn by. I hadn't talked to him in years, but I remembered him as a straight shooter, someone who wouldn't sugarcoat things. I met him at a quiet diner, the kind of place where secrets are shared over lukewarm coffee. I was hesitant at first, stumbling over my words, unsure how to even begin to explain the insanity of the last few weeks. "Marcus," I started, my voice shaky, I don't even know where to begin. It's about Cassandra and my family." He listened patiently, his eyes fixed on mine as I poured out the whole twisted story. The overheard conversation, the fake concern, the gaslighting, the smear campaign against my business, the accusations of me being the crazy one. I laid it all bare, the shame and disbelief clinging to me like a second skin. When I finished, there was a long silence. Marcus leaned back in his booth, his expression, well, it wasn't what I expected. No pity. No condescending "you're stressed, Ethan." Just shock, genuine, unadulterated shock. "Ethan," he said finally, his voice low and serious, I barely know what to say. This is beyond anything I could have imagined." And that, right there, was the turning point. Someone, finally, believed me. "They're trying to make me think I'm crazy," I whispered, the words raw with the pain of weeks of gaslighting. "They're telling everyone I'm unstable, that I abandoned Cassandra, that I'm the problem." Marcus shook his head. "No, Ethan, you're not crazy. This is a calculated attack. They're trying to discredit you, to isolate you, to make you doubt yourself. It's classic manipulation." He told me about something called DARVO, deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. He said Cassandra and her family were using it to turn the narrative against me, to make me the villain in their twisted story. Hearing him say that, hearing him validate my experience, it was like a weight lifted off my chest. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't imagining things. I was being targeted. "Your father," Marcus said, his voice softening, "he always admired you, Ethan. Your resilience, your work ethic. He used to tell me, that Ethan, he's got grit, he'll go far. He never doubted you, not for a second." Tears welled up in my eyes. I had spent my whole life trying to earn my father's approval, always feeling like I fell short compared to Mark. And now to hear this from Marcus, it broke me, in a good way. He said that, I choked out. Marcus nodded. He did. He was proud of you, Ethan, don't ever forget that. That conversation with Marcus changed everything. It gave me the strength I needed to fight back. I wasn't alone. I wasn't crazy, and I wasn't going to let them win. This wasn't just about my business anymore. It was about my life, my sanity, my future, and I was going to fight for it, for myself. And for my father, he believed in me. And finally, so did I was already a wreck. Sleepless nights, barely eating. The stress of the business, the constant attacks from Cassandra and her family, it was all taking its toll. I felt like I was barely holding on. Then came the final blow. The one that sent me over the edge. I was at my lawyer's office going over strategy, trying to figure out how to protect myself, how to salvage what was left of my life. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something told me to check. It was David, Cassandra's cousin's husband. We'd met a few times at family gatherings, always polite but never close. The text was short, cryptic. "We need to talk about Cassandra and your accident." My blood ran cold. Accident. That word again. I called him immediately. "David," I said, my voice tight with anxiety, "what's this about?" His voice was hesitant, nervous. "Ethan, I found something you need to see." About Cassandra and, well, her cousin. He agreed to meet me at a coffee shop, a neutral location. When he arrived, he looked pale, shaken. He handed me a small flash drive. "I found this on my wife's laptop," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Hidden in a password-protected folder. I think you need to see this." I plugged the drive into my laptop, my hands trembling. It contained a series of emails and text messages between Cassandra and her cousin. And what I read, it made my stomach churn. They weren't just passively waiting for an accident to happen. They were actively planning it. There were discussions about tampering with machinery at the factory, about creating a situation that would look like an accident, about making sure I was working late, alone, near the most dangerous equipment. Chilling, calculated, evil. One text message from Cassandra to her cousin stood out, burned itself into my brain. "Make sure it looks convincing. No loose ends, we need this to work. Think of the shopping spree we'll have after." Shopping spree, over my dead body, that was it. The final straw. The last shred of doubt, the lingering guilt I'd felt about leaving her, about suspecting her, it all vanished. Replaced by a cold, hard fury. In that moment, something inside me snapped. It was like a switch flipped. I was no longer the victim. I was a warrior. The fear and confusion were gone, replaced by a steely resolve. My heart pounded in my chest, not with fear but with rage. My hands clenched into fists. I felt a surge of power, a primal need to fight back, to protect myself, to destroy the people who were trying to destroy me. I looked at David, his face a mixture of fear and guilt. "Thank you," I said, my voice calm, steady. "Thank you for giving me the truth. I knew what I had to do. This wasn't just about divorce anymore. This was about justice. I was going to expose them, all of them. I was going to fight for my life, for my business, for my future, and I was going to win. I had to." I closed my laptop, the image of Cassandra's text message seared into my mind. "Shopping spree," she'd written. "Well, Cassandra, the only shopping spree you'll be having is for an orange jumpsuit. All right, Reddit, buckle up, because this is where things get interesting." I knew I couldn't just waltz in and confront Cassandra and her coven. That would be playing right into their hands. They'd twist everything, make me look like the aggressor. I needed a plan. A damn good plan. First things first, evidence. I needed concrete proof. David's flash drive was a goldmine, but I needed more. I went back to the factory, reviewed security footage, and jackpot, there she was, Cassandra, sneaking around after hours, near the equipment mentioned in the emails. I also found discrepancies in the inventory logs, small at first, but enough to raise red flags. She'd been skimming money from the business, small amounts over time, hoping I wouldn't notice. Rookie mistake. Next, I contacted a forensic accountant. This guy was a legend. He dug through our finances, and wouldn't you know it, found a trail of Cassandra's embezzlement leading straight to her cousin's bank account. Turns out they'd been siphoning off funds for months, probably thinking they'd be living the high life after my accident. Fat chance. Armed with this arsenal of evidence, I went back to my lawyer. We meticulously documented everything: the financial fraud, the conspiracy to harm me, the planned accident. We built an ironclad case. My strategy was simple: hit them where it hurts. Financially, legally, and publicly. I wasn't interested in revenge. I wanted justice. And I wanted my life back. I enlisted the help of Marcus, my dad's old friend. He was more than just a mentor, he became my confidant, my rock. He helped me stay focused, reminded me of my strength, and kept me from completely losing my mind. He connected me with a PR firm specializing in crisis management. Damage control was crucial. I needed to protect my business's reputation, counter the smear campaign Cassandra and her family had launched. These PR pros were savages. They went into overdrive, issuing statements, contacting media outlets, and most importantly, highlighting the evidence of Cassandra's fraud and conspiracy. My mental and emotional preparation, that was the hardest part. I was a mess. Angry, hurt, betrayed. But I knew I couldn't let my emotions control me. I had to stay calm, focused, strategic. I meditated, exercised, talked to a therapist. Anything to keep myself grounded. The confrontation itself, I decided to let my lawyer handle it. A meeting was scheduled. Cassandra, her mother, and her cousin all showed up, smug, confident, probably expecting some kind of tearful apology from me. They were in for a rude awakening. My lawyer, bless her heart, laid out the evidence piece by piece. The embezzlement, the conspiracy, the planned accident. Cassandra's face went from smug to shocked to pale to, well, let's just say it was a masterclass in shifting emotions. Her mother and cousin, speechless. They hadn't anticipated this. They thought they had me cornered. They were wrong. I didn't say a word during the meeting. I didn't need to. The evidence spoke for itself. But at the end, as they were leaving, defeated and exposed, I looked Cassandra in the eye and said calmly, "Enjoy your shopping spree." The look on her face, priceless. This isn't over yet, Reddit, but I'm ready, I'm stronger than they think. And I'm going to win. The conference room was sterile, all sharp angles and polished surfaces, reflecting the tension in the air. My lawyer, Ms. Sharp, fitting right, sat across from Cassandra, her mother, and her cousin. I sat beside Ms. Sharp, a silent observer, my heart a drum against my ribs. I'd rehearsed this moment 1,000 times, imagined their faces, their denials, their outrage. But nothing could have prepared me for the reality. Ms. Sharp, cool and collected, laid out the evidence. Ms. Cassandra, we have bank statements showing a consistent flow of funds from your husband's company to your cousin's account. These transfers coincide with periods of financial difficulty for the company. Cassandra scoffed, a brittle, nervous sound. That's ridiculous. Ethan gave me access to those accounts. It was for household expenses. Household expenses that included luxury goods, international travel, and a down payment on a new car. Ms. Sharp countered, her voice razor sharp. Cassandra's face paled. Ms. Sharp continued, her voice unwavering. We also have security footage from Mr. Ethan's factory showing you on the premises after hours, near the equipment that malfunctioned. I was just checking on things, Cassandra stammered, her eyes darting around the room. Ethan sometimes forgets to lock up. And these emails and text messages, Ms. Sharp continued, placing a printout on the table, between you and your cousin, discussing the accident, care to explain those. The blood drained from Cassandra's face. Her mother and cousin exchanged panicked glances. The air thickened, heavy with unspoken accusations. This is all circumstantial, Cassandra finally managed, her voice barely a whisper. You can't prove anything. This is where I stepped in. I'd remained silent until this point, letting the evidence speak for itself. But now it was my turn. I looked directly at Cassandra, my voice calm, steady. You forgot about the insurance policy, Cassandra. The one you discussed with your cousin. The one that would have paid out handsomely if I'd had an accident at the factory. Her eyes widened, her breath catching in her throat. The room fell silent, the only sound the frantic ticking of the clock on the wall. I know about the plan, Cassandra, I continued, my voice low but firm. The plan to tamper with the machinery. The plan to make it look like an accident. The plan to get rid of me. The color drained from her face, leaving her ashen. Her mother gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Her cousin stared at me, eyes wide with fear. The smug confidence they'd arrived with had evaporated, replaced by raw, unadulterated panic. Checkmate. Cassandra stammered, her voice trembling. She looked at her mother, at her cousin, then back at me, her eyes pleading. But there was no escape. The truth was out. The power dynamic in the room had shifted. They were no longer in control. I was. And the feeling, it was liberating, cathartic. I'd been silenced, gaslighted, made to feel like I was the crazy one. But now the truth was out in the open. And they knew it. The rest of the meeting was a blur. Cassandra, facing overwhelming evidence, crumbled. Her mother and cousin, their faces masks of shock and disbelief, could only watch as their carefully constructed web of lies unraveled. They'd underestimated me. They'd thought I was weak. They were wrong. This isn't the end of the story, Reddit. There are still legal battles to fight, emotional wounds to heal, but I'm no longer the victim. I'm a survivor, and I'm finally ready to take back my life. It's been 6 months since that meeting. 6 months since the truth came out, since the mask slipped, and the world saw Cassandra for who she really is. The fallout was messy, to say the least. Cassandra, facing a mountain of evidence, agreed to a plea deal. She testified against her cousin and her brother-in-law. David totally flipped on them, smart guy, detailing their involvement in the conspiracy. She received no settlement in the divorce, which, let's be honest, felt amazingly vindicating. Justice served cold. My family, well, that's a more complicated story. My mother still can't quite believe it. There's a lot of denial, a lot of Cassandra wouldn't do that, a lot of blaming me for driving her to it. It's frustrating, heartbreaking, but I've come to accept that some people will never see the truth, no matter how obvious it is. My brother Mark surprised me. He actually reached out, apologized for not believing me sooner, and offered his support. We're not close, but it's a start. Baby steps, the business. It took a hit, no doubt. The smear campaign did some damage, but thanks to Marcus and the PR team, we managed to weather the storm. We're slowly rebuilding, regaining trust, and honestly, it feels good. Like I'm building something real, something authentic, something that can't be taken away from me. As for me, I'm different. This whole experience has changed me. I'm more cautious, more guarded. I trust my gut more. I've learned the hard way that not everyone has your best interests at heart, even the people you think you know best. I've learned to value genuine connections, to cherish the people who stood by me through the thick of it. Marcus, David, my lawyer, a few close friends. They're my real family now. Loyalty is everything. It's been a long, hard road, Reddit, but I'm still standing. I'm stronger than I ever thought possible. And I'm finally free. I'm free. Has anyone else gone through something similar? How did you cope? How did you rebuild your life after such a betrayal? I'd love to hear your stories.